We're pretty confident we can go up to 15 pounds of pressure.
Right, so you can disconnect this, autoclave this, stick on a different size, a different shape, maybe something with a different feature.
So we developed this device here.
And then that way the surgeon doesn't have to ask the nurse to go grab a new pen.
This is for surgeons who need to be able to have their head at about a 45-degree angle for hours and hours.
Bench to Bedside is the initial challenge for us to bring together medical students and engineering students together into teams, add some business students into the mix, and see if they could identify and solve clinical problems through innovation.
We basically have designed an instrument for facilitating the maintenance of normal knee anatomy in a particular fracture that occurs most frequently in children.
I am advancing the needle into the apple, which will be the same as getting the needle into the bone marrow sample.
What we've done is combined smoke removal with lighting and with protection and a guide for the loop electrode electrosurgical procedure.
The number of students and the number of projects we have here is quite amazing, particularly since this is the first such event here at the university.
Attach this to the cervix and pull down.
One of the great things about being a student is they haven't necessarily been taught how to think yet. And so they're at that phase where if you give them a clinical problem, they haven't had any blinders put on yet. And so when they start to think about solutions, they haven't been given the box to think in. So they're thinking out of the box from day one.
The medical students and physicians are the ones who recognize the problems on a daily basis, and they're the ones who are uniquely poised to solve those problems.
By inserting it into the vagina and putting one of these patches on each side of the cervix, the healthcare provider is able to accurately measure the dilation.
What we've come up with is the Cobble Manager that will be a device that can be easily attached to a bed and have a one concise area where all cords can come to.
The idea was to go, what part of this could you prototype? You've got to understand your market, understand your clinical problem, understand your solution, and develop enough of a prototype that you could go to an investor and go, look, we've got a proof of concept here. And that concept is flushed out enough and elegant enough that an investor who doesn't have the clinical experience or doesn't know that market like these students do can go, yeah, I see it. I see what you're trying to do.
You can really take a simple idea that you recognize in the operating room or the clinic and turn it into a really neat project or even something more.
Every one of these solutions addresses a real problem. There's no orphan technology here. There's not a technology looking for a purpose. Every one of these student teams found a clinical problem that really had patients in need of a better solution and identified a solution for it.
And also provide good lighting to surgeons in the developing world.
Dinesh Patel, who knows more about this than I do, walked around this room and walked out and said, you know what, there's some $2 million ideas in this room, and that's fantastic. And there's some $200 million ideas in this room, and that's outstanding.
With the assistance of the university, with all of the leaders here in business, technology, and intellectual property, you'll see something here take off and become the next great idea.